All right, we are on air now. We already talked a little bit because we know and we like each other, because we are part of the Gauntlet community and chat nearly daily. But that was my son and his Lego. Hello, Keelan. He doesn't speak English, so yeah. And so this is part of the Gauntlet community. This was on the Gauntlet calendar, and today we play So Mum, I Made This Sex Tape by Susanne Vejdemo. She's from Sweden and a designer of LARPs, and this is supposed to be a LARP. It was published in the Hashtag Feminism collection as a little micro game, and I highly appreciated reading this. However, I'm alone in Guatemala, and I want to play such games as well. So I discussed with Susanne how to transform that into a laog, into a live-action online game, and I made a proposal. And last week I ran it for the first time. It went pretty well. That was with 5 players altogether. Today it's just 3 of us, which is not a problem because the game is for 3 to 5 players, and I think 4 is the optimal number, so we are dancing around that a little bit. But Susanne says that it's very interesting also to play it with 3 people, because what we do in this game is we play family members who have a video call for a special occasion. We consider what that could be in a moment. And family dynamics have this weird setup that whenever somebody enters a constellation, the dynamics completely change. And when somebody leaves, somebody else, the dynamics change again. So that's the secret mystery how to have good Christmas time, is that each day somebody needs to leave or somebody needs to arrive, and then you will have a good Christmas time. Just a general remark on that.
And so today, you're not talking about a rule. That's just a fact.
That's a fact of life. Yes, that's not a game rule. And I've never implemented it as a rule. However, if you can somehow manage to organize it that way, flight dates or whatever, I think that makes sense. Yeah. All right. So Mum, I made the sex tape. We want to play this. We have an online tool for that. And there's one important thing about laogs. What we want to do here is we want to, before we start playing and go into the game, we want to distribute a little bit responsibilities. So I signed up to be the facilitator. So I will have my facilitating duties. I've done the rule stuff and so on. I have duties on that. But as you can see in the template I provided to you, there are several other responsibilities. And the idea is that we split these responsibilities a little bit among us. So it's not all up to the facilitator. That's a rather recent idea, but I like it a lot that it's not all the facilitator doing all the stuff. So for example, if one of us has technical issues, then it doesn't always have to be the facilitator to make a decision how to proceed, what to do. But we could, before we start playing, one player could volunteer for getting in touch with another player, thinking about a solution, and the facilitator can probably even just take a little break and think about what to do next or whatever, like if it's a GM game, for example. So I'm doing the orientation, welcoming and introduction in this game, and my name is Garrett. So if you are on the sheet, I just put my name in there. I will also do the rule stuff because I've done the online version. I think I'm well equipped to provide rules explanation if necessary. However, I might be the one with the most likely technical difficulties, which is internet connection issues. So maybe somebody else can do the tech help. If anything occurs, you could be the help desk. Like, how do I do this in the sheet? I think I mixed something up. I copy-pasted something wrong somewhere. And so you could put your name in there, and then we can ask directly to you to do that. Thank you, David, for volunteering.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that.
Cool. Yeah.
The one role that I'm going to ask that I don't do this time around is the debrief, because a couple of weeks ago I did Winterhorn and I did the debrief, so I'm like, yeah, I can not do debrief this time.
Yeah, so if you play just Winterhorn, you will see that the responsibility roles are copied and slightly modified from Jason Morningstar's approach to how to distribute the roles. I really like that. Yeah, and doing the debrief is a very responsible task. John, if you feel up to it to moderate the debrief, there's a text you simply need to read and then hand over the mic to the persons, one after another. You can do that. Sure. If you say, Gerrit, could you please do that? I will also be able to do that with the three of us. So yeah, that's up to you. Cool. Thank you very much. Just that people who are watching can get an idea. I will even share my screen on this.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So, and I will lock that. All right. So we are just 3 players, and the nice thing is I have programmed my tool because I was like an Excel business consultant for a while before I left that field of profession. So I can't help myself and make everything a little bit automatic, so you can adjust the number of players and the playtime is then adjusted automatically. So now we need to think about rules, character roles distribution. So in this game, before you think about picking a character, we will have the following situations. We have this video conference call between family members. We are all women and we are all feminists. However, very different feminists. For example, there is the mother, and she is sex positive, but porn negative as a feminist. And you find more details in her role description. The daughter is the central figure in this little story we tell each other because she made a sex tape with her boyfriend. And this nasty boyfriend, we need to think about the name for him, by the way, he sent, without asking her, that tape to an alternative porn festival. The alternative porn festival, though, liked the video very much from the artistic point of view. So they approached the daughter if she would do an interview and if the film could be screened and everything. And the daughter is pretty proud of that because she's sex positive and she thinks that good porn is empowering. But she has several questions if she should participate in the festival and what to do about her boyfriend who betrayed her and did something criminal, one could say, sending without her consent this tape to somebody else. And her family members have different views on that. And she is today sitting together with her mother and with her grandmother, the granny, and discussing this with them. And this is our 25 minutes in-game time we spent together. And then after 25 minutes, the daughter needs to leave to get the bus. So she will then stop the game by saying, I need to leave now, and then makes a decision what to do.
And Gary, you said 25 minutes.
The actual playtime is 25 minutes, 25. And then we have like 5 minutes coming afterwards when the daughter has made her decision, and the others then need to consider if they want to stay with her and support her with her decision, or if they disagree and say, I can't support you. I will explain that a little again in a moment before we come to that. And then we will do a 15 minutes debrief, and that's the time we need. Yeah, so do you have an idea which role you would like to play?
I'm most interested in either the daughter or the granny.
Mm-hmm. I played the daughter last time, so I would prefer trying another role. So I'm in for the mother and the granny.
And I'm very flexible. I could do any of them. The daughter seems especially challenging, so I'm a little scared of it. But David, do you have a strong preference of the two?
I'm not intimidated by the daughter, so if you're feeling a little not so a little unsure about it, I'd be okay playing the daughter.
Okay, cool.
All right. David is the daughter. And Then
Oh,
I like to be the mother. Is that okay for you, John?
Sure thing.
All right. And John, and you are the granny. Cool. So now please take some time to read your character's background a little bit in more detail. And then after we have taken a little bit of time thinking about our character, we can introduce our characters. We can give them as much flavor as we want. The idea is to have in the end a realistic kind of conversation between family members. And so we definitely all want to understand each other and we want to be compassionate, but for sure we also have pretty strong opinions, very strong opinions. And so after you got accommodated with your character and definitely introduced it, I will explain the meta technique, how that works. There's a little meta technique about the arguments in there, and then we are ready to play. Also, think about a name for your character. The daughter can also decide about the name of the boyfriend because she picked him.
Ooh, name for the boyfriend. I'm just going boring with names.
That's good. I like that.
I was like, oh, maybe get something a little bit different, at least from my cultural background. And I'm like, no, let's just be boring. This is this is a game about a very slice of life, so why distract from it?
Yeah, indeed. What is interesting though is for sure everything is loaded in such a game. Like in the last game, we had a very interesting discussion about classism and playing like a middle-class white family on feminism is a different story than something intersectional for sure. So, but yeah, I think when I look at each other, I would say we're already 3 male. Let's play this close to home, at least in the other dimensions. So I totally agree. Yeah, with let's keep it. Yeah, straightforward, so to say. All right. Do you feel comfortable with your character, like what you have read and everything?
Yes.
Cool.
We're getting there, I should say.
Getting there, yes.
Yeah. Will be good, yes.
Yeah. Since we have the time, I would still read to you and tell you what I think about the character. So I'm 45. I think that porn actors are all victims, whether they realize it or not. Porn leads to prostitution and drugs, as well as perverting boys' views of sex. I mean, look around, like, since the internet is out there, like how people talk about sex and what they demand from girls is very different and problematic, I think. The degradation and commercialization of the female body is my number one feminist issue. My daughter needs to understand that she shouldn't be ashamed. She is a victim. She should not participate in the festival. I want her to report the boyfriend to the police for spreading the video without her consent. This is totally unacceptable. My name is Eleanor, and I was very active in the feminist movement in the 80s. And so I got together with many other mothers, and what we discussed is like how to raise our daughters in a different manner and how to teach our husbands. Like that the time is over, that like the role split is very clear, but in the opposite, that we are now in a position that we want to have our freedom in all dimensions. So I was pretty political at that time. I'm not that much anymore, but I'm still concerned now that my daughter is at that age. So what do we know about our grandmother?
Let's see. So my name is Joan, and I'm 75 and an old school socialist factory worker feminist. Modern feminists aren't thankful enough. Women need to unite and fight for real issues like equal pay and equal political representation. Sexual rights isn't a feminist issue. It's a slut issue. My brilliant granddaughter should be ashamed about all this scandal. She needs to go to university and become a politician. Sex should be private, although you can't talk about it with the other women in your family. You can talk about it with the other. My granddaughter should not go to the festival. She should not report the boyfriend to the police, though, I believe, because I think that would just make this a bigger scandal. And I am, so I'm from a time when feminism was very tied to political action and action against the sort of mainstream. And I'm a little brusque. I'm a little small. I'm a little young seeming for my age. I can be really sort of warm, but I'm kind of can be a little offensive as well.
Good to have you around in a video call with 75. That's an achievement. That you keep up with technology. Cool. What do we know about the daughter?
So my name is Anne. I'm 18. My boyfriend convinced me to make a sex tape, and it turned out funny, sexy, and really good. I mean, really good. Without my knowledge, though, my boyfriend George sent the tape to an amateur sex tape festival. I'm upset about that. The organizers want to show the tape at the festival and online. Sorry. And do an online interview, interview with you. That feels exciting. There's so much porn that only degrades women. Maybe putting your great sex tape out there could help reverse that. You need help sorting out the emotions, and you want your family support. So I think that Anne is at that age where she makes her own decisions and wants that freedom, but is still uncertain enough where her family has a lot of sway over it. I think she is very proud of this, and actually is very happy to have the sex tape out there and to, and to own up to it and to say, yes, this was my decision. But the fact that it wasn't her decision is very violating to her. She, this is something that she would have said, she probably would have said yes to, but the rules of consent were effectively violated. So that has her very conflicted on whether she should resist this because the choice was denied to her, or whether she accepts it because it's the choice she would have wanted to make in the first place.
How long are you together already with George?
I think about 1.5 years.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we know him a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think he's like a little bit older than me. He's probably like 19, while I'm 18.
Cool.
But, if you've ever seen an 18, 19-year-old couple, the 19-year-old thinks they're so much more mature than the 18-year-old.
Yes. In Germany, it's like when you got to know each other, he already had a driver license. That made a difference with 18.
Yeah, he's been like out of high school an extra year.
Entering a different phase of life. With or without you, we will learn. All right, so thank you for character introduction. Now we come to the meta techniques. So while we are in the game 100% in character, so for this 25 minutes, we are just this person with all over our body. Like when you scratch your head, it's your character scratching your head. And if you smile, if you laugh, if you get loud, it's all in character. If you leave the camera, it's in character. Search something, whatever you want to do. However, there's this meta technique, which is a little bit beyond the immersion moment, which is that you all have 3 arguments. And do you all have access to the chat? Right in the video hangout, I'm talking about this one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you want to bring one of these arguments, we all shall give you space for a monologue about this argument. And then it's your platform to bring your argument. You just type in listen in there. And the conversation around the others will calm down, and you are in the central position to tell you your arguments. And then you mark an X on your character sheet in that argument. So, for example, I could talk about porn objectifies the female body, and then I mark an X in there after I have used my listen. You can use this argument again. You can talk about the objectification, what happens in porn, and generally what objectification of the female body, but not with this power of the listen anymore. At the end of the game, all arguments shall have been brought into the game. So there is a progress bar at the top, which is currently on 1 of 9 arguments brought. And every time somebody puts an X in their argument, the progress bar jumps up. So don't forget to put the X, or do it for somebody else if they forget. So we can see how much progress we have made. When all 9 arguments, have been made before the 25 minutes, which is likely to happen, then we can fade already the discussion out. At any time, the daughter, when she feels to be informed about what everybody wants to tell her and what she needs to tell them, she can say, I think I have to leave now, my bus is coming, or whatever reason you have to leave the call. And what happens then is that we all switch our cameras off and the video call is over. With the camera off, the daughter then has some time to think about, it's you, David, what her decision is. She will switch her camera on again and explain her decision. And then she will ask one other player after the other, do you support me? And then that player has a moment, a couple of seconds to think about. And if they support you, if I decide that I support Anne in her decision as a mom, I switch the camera on again. And I will say, nothing, but we will just look in our eyes, into each eyes. And so, David, you go from one to the other, and the two of us in this case, and see if we support you. If we don't support you, the camera stays blank. We don't switch it on again. Sounds good?
One question, Garrett. The listen function, does that override, like if we're in the middle of a discussion, does that like sort of freeze it immediately, and we like if David had done a listen and was doing an argument, we were having a discussion around it, do I wait for that to completely play out and then I say listen and then we do another one, or does that break it?
Let's have natural ways into the listen. So it has more or less the same power as a listen in a real conversation as. Somebody loudly speaks, listen. Then the others will ebb down, I would say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it happens naturally. It's not like a power break where a natural conversation stops out of nothing.
Yeah, the difference is 5 seconds later, someone else doesn't interrupt saying listen themselves. Yes. Which is, that's what happens in real life.
Yeah. And in the television version, it wouldn't happen because the directors would have written down the lines till the end. Yeah, exactly. Cool. So everything is prepared so far. We now make a little break of, let's say, until 38. We switch our cameras off. And then at 38, when we switch the camera on again, we are in character. And we play the game. And we take care for the time and everything, and we have a little discussion as mother, grandmother, and daughter together about what happened. The beginning is that we just have chit-chat, and we talk about, oh, nice, the technical setup works, how are you doing? And the reason why we have this phone call is that grandfather's birthday is approaching, his 80th birthday, and we think about organizing a party for him. Does that sound good for you? Yeah, but then we sidetrack quickly. As soon as the daughter announces, Mama, I've made the sex tape. Cool. Okay, so we return in character, if you feel comfortable, in 4 minutes, which is 39. Let's make it 40. Sounds good?
Yeah,
sounds good.
All right.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Hi, Anne. I'm sorry.
Hello. Hey, dears.
Oh, hi, Granny Joan.
Hey. This is
Hi.
so nice to see you. Your faces. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I
that
see
all was
you
fine.
figured out how to use the laptop we got you last Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
How are you,
I
mother?
find my way around. I'm not as old as well, I guess I'm young for
You
my
are doing
age.
well, Mom. You are
Yeah.
doing well.
I can check email.
Yeah, I have the problem
doing
that
things.
I wanted to just tell you, Jim. Oh, no, I know it seems to work again. Ah, wait a second.
You're
Oh,
breaking
no.
up, Mom.
Oh,
Can you
Jesus.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. What happened there?
Jim, your father, was in his workshop and he said, everything is fine. When you have your call with your family, everything will be fine. And you know what happened? Exact at the moment when I wanted to call you. Total power outage, the whole house. And he said, I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. I will be back. And there I am. Good that I still have my phone here.
Oh, Jim.
How are you?
Is Jim, like, is he doing his shop stuff? Is he, like, using all the electricity with his power equipment?
Yes, like
Maybe.
he has this new machine, and it's like it's consuming all of our energy. You won't believe to see our electricity bill every year. It's incredible.
Well,
yeah.
The things he makes are beautiful, though, I have to say.
But how is everything going? Do you feel ready for a big party? Do you think it's good to organize something like this? Is he still fine, grandfather?
Yeah, I think he's gonna really like it. I mean, it's a special thing for him, and to have all his family around, yeah, I'm really happy that you guys want to do that for him.
Yeah, Wendy's absolutely. I'm going to fly in. It'll be a little bit of a tight schedule. I've got some possible commitments coming up. Look,
What are you doing, Anne?
Well, there's this festival that a video I was in picked up, and they want to interview me for it. And it's actually kind of a big deal, but
a festival? Because
yeah,
of your band?
no, this is this is so embarrassing. It's a amateur sex tape festival.
What?
What's that?
It's an amateur sex tape festival.
You mean
Look, don't freak out.
porn?
Don't freak out.
Well, you're going to go watch some video, some like, this sounds really not the way you'd want to spend your time. You're watching videos?
Well, some of it's really hot, honestly. But I'll be watching other people's videos, and they'll be watching my video, and
Don't you think this is your business and you don't have to put this onto me and your grandmother?
why
do they want to interview you?
Well, because the video is really good. Like really good.
Wait a second. There is a video of what?
Of me and George.
What?
Look, it's hard to explain. We used a bunch of memes, and it was funny and really sexy, and he decided that we've been big fans of this festival for a while now, and he decided to submit the video.
He decided to send a video with you having sex, to send it.
It's an issue.
Why didn't you intervene?
Well, he didn't tell me he was going to do it ahead of time, which
tell you?
I'm really mad at him about, but it's a little late to change that.
Oh,
Joan, grandmother, mother, are you with us still?
yes, and I'm having a hard time understanding this. What?
Look,
I thought. I mean, how you are how you have these political motivations. You have these. What? How? Isn't this going to just be like? How are you going to function in professionally?
I mean, is honestly like, so I've been really involved with Black Lives Matter, and honestly, one of the top organizers is a former adult film star. Actually, she didn't have the best experience with it, but at the same time, she has really interesting views on what the field could be. And honestly, I think this is, if it wasn't for George being a dumbass, this could have been like along those better lines.
You even use their language. This is not adult business or whatever. This is childish. This is crime. What they're doing there. This is simply pornography.
No, it's look, it started out as something that was supposed to be just for the two of us, and I might have been okay with sharing it. That would have been my decision. I'm really mad at George about not talking to me first, though. So honestly, I really need to just wrap my head around that right now. Is what do I do about George? Because
yeah, that was a criminal.
He hasn't even apologized to me yet.
Are you with him still?
Last night we had this big argument, and we didn't come to terms with anything with it. It was a lot of yelling. So I don't even know right now.
So sorry to hear that. I thought he was a nice guy.
I mean, he usually is.
You need to tell the police.
Hey, look, no, it was the wrong thing for him to do. But I don't think the right thing is to get him arrested. Is it? I mean, it really feels violating that he did this without talking to me.
We all can do what we want to do. I mean, you're 18 now. I mean, I understand that it's the technology, this new world, but you've got to raise yourself to a higher level than this. You need to, I mean, the political situation at the moment is so fragile. I mean, this is not the way you want to spend your energy, and you need to be fighting for, the right to vote and and economic freedom and education. I feel a little disappointed.
Look, it's not that I can't still do those things. In fact, this is a big part of doing that. The fact that I can have a life outside of politics, that I can enjoy my body and not have it ruin everything else is important, and that's what we need to fight for.
I see you're deeply confused, and I'm so sorry for you.
Patronizing. That's really patronizing, Mom.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm deeply confused right now. Because that's not what I taught you. Like we were discussing that so often. Like this whole industry, as they call themselves. Listen, porn pretends to be something what it isn't. We fought for sexual freedom in our generation. And I know, Mother, we had our discussions around that when we were there. And now it seems I need to have the same discussions with my daughter. So I want to understand as good as I can what's going on in my daughter, but porn, it's proven. They are statistics. They are testimonials by people. The whole business pretends to be something very different from what it is. This business is full of people who are like have problems to survive, and they go into something which they shouldn't have done. Maybe your video was done in a different manner, but it's a private thing then. And by contributing to such festivals, you normalize something which for many, many women in the world and also in the States is something where people suffer, deeply suffer. I don't think you want to support this, do you?
But it's not the same as that. I mean, this isn't some sleazy director out in Nevada saying, "Oh yeah, you want to make some money." This was myself and my partner in charge, and we made this, and it was about us. And we want to share how this can be sexy and empowering, and and it's not about the profit. I'm not trying to make money off of this. This was me sharing. This could be about me sharing my sexuality in a way that I'm in charge of. It's not about making money off of it. It's about saying, hey, I am free. I do get to enjoy this. And you get to too.
I'm not sure. This sounds too theoretical for me. This is very theoretical how you explain that. My mother wants.
Hey, listen, it's art has always involved sexuality. The Venus de Milo, the Birth of Venus, again and again and again. Georgia O'Keeffe, the fact that sex is a part of the human condition, and it can be a part of art too. So just because men have turned sex into something sleazy and consumer doesn't mean that it always has to be that way. And the only way that you can make it not be that way is to show it doesn't have to be that way. So I really just, this can be that opportunity to show that there is a positive way of displaying erotica. There is a positive way to show that sex is enjoyable and empowering without degrading myself or my partner.
Listen, Anne. I think that I have sympathy for you. You're one of my favorite granddaughters. You are my favorite granddaughter. I'm so proud of all the things that you are doing and the education and your big heart. And I can see that you're thinking that what you're doing has a political position, but you can't confuse pornography and sexuality with social action and political action. That's something you do. I mean, yes, you're right. Artists explore art, and artists explore sexuality, and that's fine. That's fine. That's a place for it. But you just can't go to this place where sexuality and pornography is not a liberating act. It just isn't. I mean, how do you feel? Just picture yourself, you're at this festival and picture yourself on screen. I mean, it's your body, and you're you know, how are you going to feel at that moment? Have you thought about that?
Listen, you're right. It is my body, and the fact is it should be my choice whether or not people get to see my body on screen or not. And it's also my choice on how to present it. Now, George hurt me deeply by taking away part of that decision. I mean, it's his decision too. Don't get me wrong. It would have been wrong for me to have submitted it without talking to him, just as it's wrong for him to submit it without talking to me. But at this point, all I can do is make the decision of how I present myself. How do I carry forward? What do I have to say about it? I don't think I have to make myself the victim here. I can own up and say, no, this is me, this is a part of me, and I am not afraid of the world seeing me.
And there's something which bothers me. You say that you are totally equal with George. If it happened the other way around, it would have been all the same, right? I don't agree. I really don't agree. We might have achieved a lot in the last 20, 30, and yes, my mother, I know, like in the last 80 years, if you want so. However, the female body is still taken so differently. The perspective on it. Look at all the pressure on like makeup and clothings and like advertisement everywhere. It's not the same if a guy submits a porn video of himself and digging some chick there, right? It's not the same than as if she is on stage. She is insulted by doing so, and he is not, and it's still the case, and this makes me so angry. And you know that. This is not the same. Why do you pretend it is? I see that you are emotionally troubled right now with George, and there's a lot I have to say about this still. But I tell you one thing, the female body, also in pornography, and unfortunately also in sexuality, is still not treated the same. And you can't pretend that it is. Sorry, I got a little bit angry right now, but it's like it's such an important topic to me.
But it's not going to, it's not going to change until we take that back from them. If we all we do is fall victim or hide from it, then how would that ever change? It will always be the same message that either I need to flaunt my body or be ashamed of it. But it's my body. I think I should have the right to be proud of it.
You make a persuasive case. I mean, I can see that you've really thought about this. I mean, and I want to support you. I want to figure out a path that could work for this. I mean, Elena, I'm just so sorry for you, Elena. It must be so painful. How can we get out of this?
Mother, this is the problem. This is the problem with your generation. You talk about shame. I try to get away from the shame and from the idea of shame. It's a reality that it's still out there. But don't feel worried about me. It's all about Anne. Don't be worried about me, all right?
Okay, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm worried about myself too. I mean, honestly. I mean, I have a lot of political friends, and it's just hard to even imagine what this is going to be like.
Please, but can you at least one day not think about your charity?
Elena,
if we can't be ourselves and fight for the causes that we think are important, are we really free? I mean, if we have to dress up nice wear the dresses they think are appropriate, act the ways that they think are appropriate in order for a message to get heard. Are they really hearing us, or are they just looking at a pretty picture?
Oh, well, pictures, I mean, your generation is so caught up in image and picture and who do I look like and where do I come from and you know, what am I wearing and what service am I on, and
I mean,
what only matters is what you do, what you achieve.
I mean, is that any different than your generation, where it was scandalous to show your ankle in public?
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, I think that in many levels, you know, what we rebelled against was something that was, I just think they were bigger issues than that. I mean, for me, in some ways, I think that wasn't such a bad way to be. I mean, just, you know, just let those things, let private things happen in private. Have some modesty in that area, and, you know, like express yourself, your vocal, you know, vocalize, you know, for other people, and.
But Grandy, you did fight for the big issues, and you won a lot of them. And Mom, you've fought for other issues, and you won a lot of them. You know, the fact that it gets to my generation, and I'm not fighting for the right to vote, or, you know, the right to jobs, although the 73 cents on the dollar thing is still bullshit. The fact that what I have to fight is smaller is just a testament to say, no, my mom and my grandma fought before me, and now I need to carry on that fight. And maybe the fight looks smaller, but it's still important that we continue fighting on. So maybe I don't need to fight for the right to vote anymore, but that's thanks to you. So now there's new things to fight for.
Listen, and you're totally right, and I'm very happy that you say so. And I don't want to say that the fights you are going to fight are smaller than those we have fought. And Mother, you can confirm that we had like arguments like all day long about how to approach the women body and like sexuality. But there are some things, not only the right to vote and your own bank account, but there are other things we also fought for. And one of them was that sexual consent is important. And George, unfortunately, I have to tell you, has violated that significantly. And for good reason. There are laws out there, and we fought for them. And you can carry that torch, which we lightened, by taking care that the laws are applied here. He victimized you. He did something he absolutely shouldn't have done. I strongly recommend, go to the police. He needs to see severe consequences of what he has done. Otherwise, this generation of men will not learn. And I can tell you, in my generation, many haven't.
Yes, really. I mean, if you want to make this a political issue, Elena, you're absolutely right. That's the political issue. That you do that, you bring it to the police, and then you make a statement.
But I don't want the statement to be that that I'm a victim because I was put on the screen. That's not right either.
These are two separate topics.
Yeah.
But if I'm trying to send a message, how do I send the message that it's okay for me to be on screen, but it's not okay for this to be done without my consent?
What I want is that you stay in control of your decisions and your body. I don't want to overrule your decisions here. So if you really, really believe that you need to bring this on this big screen and have everybody see your most private parts, that's your decision in the end. From my point of view, Mother, you might disagree, but don't let yourself being victimized. There has to be a consequence.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I have a different opinion about whether she's on screen or not. I abhor that idea, but yes, I mean, you've inadvertently created a situation where you could actually do a very powerful thing for all of women by making this statement here and now. This festival is not right. And I just want to say that I'm so proud of these 3 generations. Look at this. I came of age in this time. I had this beautiful daughter, Elena. We've worked through so many things. She's done so many things. And now, Anne, you've gone to school. You take part in marches. You do so many amazing things. We've worked so hard. You have to think of my position too in this. You have to make me proud I count on you guys.
Listen, I understand that you want to see me do right, and ultimately, I'm the one who's going to have to figure out what the right thing is. All I really am asking from you is that no matter what I decide, that you two will support me. And I'm not asking you to do anything in particular, just that I know that you'll support me and that you'll be there and we can still love each other as a family. Hey, look, I'm sorry. I think my bus is going to be here in a couple of minutes. Look, let's talk about it next week after Granddad's birthday party. Let's not interfere with that, okay?
Yeah. All right. Talk to you later.
Okay.
And all the best.
I love you.
We love you too, Anne.
Come to a good decision.
So Anne does participate in the film festival. And she's open about how the entry got submitted and that it was not done with her permission. Her and George, whether it's a break or a break up, we're not sure yet. But right now, Anne can't trust George. She has decided not to press charges at this time. She wants to see. She thinks that there's still hope for George about learning how he fucked up and own up to the mistake. Yeah, she goes to the film festival and she's very open and upfront about how proud she was of the tape, but also how painful it was to have the decision taken away from her. So, Mom, do you end up supporting these decisions? Grandma, do you support these decisions? Well, ouch. Was that turning on your camera to support? Okay, so Grandma supported.
Did she? Oh. All
Reluctantly,
right.
it seems, but...
Then I will switch off again, and you have a moment to look into each other's eyes to see how it feels. All right. Now everybody switches their camera off, so you can stretch your body in privacy. If you need to stand up, leave the room for a second, do so. And then after stretching a little bit left and right your body, that should be done after every hangout, by the way, you leave your character. I'm not Eleanor the mother anymore. You are not your character anymore. And then whenever you feel ready, switch your camera on again, and we are out of the game.
There we go. Shoot. My button is sticky.
Ah, I understand. Oh, that was a dramatic moment. All right. So we approach the debrief, and we have a structure for this. So John, if you scroll down to cell A47 on the summary sheet, there is even a little text if you want to follow that.
Okay. Shall I read it? No, just follow.
You can read it.
Yeah,
yeah, however you like,
okay.
Whatever you prefer.
Debrief. Earliest after 30 seconds, switch your cameras back on, but take your time if you need more. Don't immediately start talking about the game. Free yourself from the character you played, possibly by shortly leaving the room you played in or by changing something of you or the environment. Stretch your muscles after all this time sitting and staring at a screen. When everybody is back with cameras on, the moderator starts the debrief by thanking everybody who participated. Who doesn't want to be part of it can leave, no questions asked. Go around the table for what impressions you had, what you enjoyed, which parts were challenging for you. Stay with you if possible. In a second round, you have the opportunity to praise other players, the game designer, or whatever comes to your mind. The debrief will last maximum 15 minutes plus 5 minutes extra per player, more than 3. The facilitator can ask for feedback if they want. They can also hand that over to somebody else. Feedback can then be given in private channels. If there is a lesson to be learned for all the players, the facilitator feedback moderator will write to all players. Please leave some time between the game and the feedback lesson. Okay, so we have the camera on, so I will set 15.
Yeah, maximum. It depends on us how much we want.
And let's see, and so, yeah, we'll go around the table, maybe just in camera order, so maybe Garrett first.
Yeah, which is good because it also gives me the opportunity to ask you if you prefer me stopping the recording or if you want to have the debrief part of the recording also for others who are interested in the game to listen to what we are saying. If just one person says, I prefer having it private, just write it in the chat. Nobody needs to know outside of the three of us who it is, and then I will stop the recording. Also, no questions asked. Same goes for if somebody wants to leave the debrief. Just to mention, because I still have the camera on it, I didn't mention that in the text. Do you feel comfortable with staying inside? Then I will do my debrief part about staying with me. So I try to stay as much as I can with me, and I can say, wow, it's a very interesting switch for me in the roles. Being the daughter, I had quite a lot of compassion for David. I don't want to talk about that. I will do that in the second part, but that resonated very heavily with me. And so at the same time, as a mother, in this mother role, in this position also is something I like personally can pretty well understand, and it's something when I get engaged in it, I mean it. So at the end, it was a strong moment for me. I put my finger on the camera button to switch it on again, and I was going back and forth. And I should support my daughter. Should I? I should. But she's not going to the police. Maybe if I don't switch the camera on, she will change her mind still and do what I want. What I want. That was interesting. Yeah. Thank you.
No, this was definitely a really cool game. I think I would have really liked to see it with 4 or 5 players to make it a lot more of a chaotic conversation, because I think the game probably really benefits from that. But still, with 3 players, it was very compelling. One thing that I really like about this game is I've recently come to the decision that there aren't enough games and media portrayals where there's a betrayal of family that isn't inherently dysfunctional. And this really, like, this game is very eloquent in that the game very naturally doesn't push people into dysfunction. It's very easy for there to be differences of opinions and for there still to be love with each other and still to be respect. So I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I'm really glad I did this.
Just interrupt on that. You are making a game about this as well, right?
Very different bent on family, but yes, I'm also working on a game that is about family where the family is not dysfunctional.
Cool. Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, let's see. First of all, it was really interesting to play a game of this limited duration, you know, to know that, like, it's going to be this focused, passionate moment, you know, where we're just hitting these things and experiencing it and then jumping out of it. I found myself well into the game realizing that I was just being in a channel. Like, I was sort of like, it was like me speaking to Anne, and then Elena speaking to Anne, and then me speaking to Anne. And I realized what a challenge it is. I think that reflects life too, of just having to sort of say, like, all the triangulations, you know, and like, Elena, how do you know, I'm impacting Elena, and then I started to try to speak to Elena, and you know, and you know, and then I think that created some energy. I mean, you guys were doing it too, but then when you came back, we're meant to just talk about myself, but like, when you came back and confronted me, like, it made it so much more real for me. Yeah, I was really it was really difficult because I had so much. I mean, you just bring your own opinions about the thing. So I was like, you know, it was surprisingly hard for me to take a non-supportive position with Anne. But you know, I also, and I just really love that certain details about the character are laid out so that you can fall back on those things to embody them. I really enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, so now we could have a round of you know, expanding and speaking about other people as well if we like.
Yeah, I want to say thank Susanne again for designing the game, because I think it's a brilliant little piece. And I was also discussing with her on another channel how much of a great template this game can be for very different issues, like where family comes together and different stream of thoughts, different generations bring different perspectives in. And just exactly what you said, David, about this dysfunctional setup where you still want to be supportive and you still want to be understanding is so interesting. And it worked so well again. And John, you said this with his triangles, and I was the daughter last time, and my feeling with the daughter was that she doesn't have that, because it's all directed to her, and she thinks about what should I do, what should I do, what should I do. And now, as being one of the persons who is like placing the arguments, you have a little bit of tension between the other characters. And indeed, yeah, the 5-player setup was very different, and I'm very happy personally. I can understand why you would like to see it with 5 people as well, David. But personally, it was great to have just now the other extreme experience with just this focused discussion where the 3 of us are talking and exchanging this, and it's this very bad situation that there are 2 talking against the daughter. When more people come in, the other characters are more supportive of the daughter and her approach of sexuality and pornography, interestingly. That changes the dynamics a lot. Yeah, so I was super happy to play with you because, oh, David, you were such a good daughter.
Well, I wasn't a great daughter. I couldn't make a poor date.
Yeah, but she was highly ideological, and I personally, as Garrett, I often and easily fall into the trap of, if there is a construct of ideology and if it sounds good and plausible, I start immediately to believe in it. If somebody is like convincing and charismatic a little bit, and I really had to resist that. Like when she was talking, it's like, you are just a little girl, you don't know nothing. I had to like make this really patrimonial, is that the English word? The looking down on you as a mother. Stay with me.
Patronizing. Very early on.
Yeah.
I called you out on being patronizing.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. In a patriarchal society, indeed. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And John, you were amazing as a grandmother, because grandmothers, I heard, are the most challenging characters to play in this game, because they are the most far away in their position from most of those who play this game, and that makes it sometimes difficult. And but you like had such an authority, like this very thoughtful thing. But yes, yeah. Also, like as if you were really like challenged by the media format. I don't know if that was in character. I guess so.
No, yeah, it was.
Yeah, one of the things I kind of recognized just doing a quick look over was, in a 3-player game, I was thinking, okay, I probably should be more ideological in a 3-player game because I'll probably get steamrolled if I don't. Whereas I'm guessing in a 4 or 5, you can have a lot more uncertainty with the daughter and being like, was it all right to make this sex tape in the first place? Because then, like the aunt can come in and say, no, that was your right to do that. I think that's part of, there's a lot of subtlety to the number of players. I think it's cool. I think there might, like, I haven't seen the text, but seeing a little bit of a hints on that based on player numbers might be useful for people who are like less used to like, okay, let's scope out what the, you know, what the actual setup is. I love both of you guys in the game. I think you made you really took home your characters, but you and your arguments, but you still were like, no, this all needs to come from a place of love. And I think that's what actually makes this from just a game that's just about ideology into a game that's very heartwarming, is the fact that it is a game where everything that's said is coming from a place of love.
Hmm. Yeah, I echo a lot of the things that you guys were saying. I think I mean, it's absolutely right that the number of players would just change the thing so dramatically. And I'm really curious to see the 5. I would definitely like to like watch the video for it. On the one hand, I was thinking that 3 could really be especially great because it's sort of more like a video call. Like it's hard for me to picture like a family that has 5 people all able to get on a video call together, you know, and it just seems less realistic to me. And there would be a lot of downtime, and there would be a lot of, you know, you could get lost in that. Yet on the other hand, that would be fun. That would be really cool. I think that would be great. And you're so right about this being a template that could work for other issues. That's a really amazing idea to me, because it's also just what I realize is that there's so many families, like my own included, where people don't, the sex tape would happen and the family wouldn't be told, you know, or, you know, people don't reveal the difficult things they're going through, that they avoid these confrontations. I mean, you know, and just as a practice or just as a reflection back on like what families really do, to have this thing where you practice like, whoa, what if I did bring this up to my grandmother and my, you know, and discuss this matter, whether it was like, should I march in this, you know, event? Should I play in a band and do whatever, you know, like whatever the thing would be. It's really would be really helpful, you know, for whoever was involved with it. Yeah. And David, I was just so impressed with your ability to just grapple with the position that Anne would have to take in that position of having to stand up for herself, yet having to be, you know, seeing why the others would have these opinions and respect them. That's a lot to process and on the fly.
We kind of posted alternative topics to have this conversation about.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
I'd actually really like to see it where we flip it. The mother is the divorce one. The mother is the one who's getting the divorce, and the kids have to, like the kids and the grandma have to grapple with it.
Totally, yes. That would be great, yeah.
What about like one where like maybe the mom has run out of money, like she's just, you know, she had just spent her last dime. You know, people have to wrestle with that, or yeah, there are a lot of things you could do.
Oh, you can do so much stuff, yeah. Like grandmother can think about euthanasia.
Oh yeah.
In a dystopian cyberpunk world, or even today. Oh yes, or you can. I personally, from my German background, I was thinking about children. I have to tell you, grandfather is dead, and I didn't tell you that he was a strong Nazi and did war crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a little similar to my joke one that I just posted. So
I voted for Trump. Yes. Yeah. What did you do when it happened? Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you too very much for playing. It was a great pleasure. And yeah, if about the feedback part, if you want to write me something about the setup, if you think there could be something improved, or if you want to do something in a similar vein and like to collaborate on that, or get my ideas on something what you do, and then I'm very open for any kind of exchange with the two of you.
I just want to say, Garrett, thank you for pushing the envelope on Gauntlet games and really putting different things out there. That's something that I noticed and I've been trying to do too, is put things that we're not seeing posted like every month. I think you're pushing the envelope more than myself. So I think that's truly awesome that you are saying, no, there is tons of awesome games out here that you're not even thinking about. People aren't considering like an online format for them, and just like put them on the table and do them and see how they work out. And I think it's great that you're doing it.
Cool. Yeah, I felt that you are in the same spirit than I am in that sense. Yeah, I could see that. The next on the calendar is Endgame, where you play an esport team. And it's about the team is losing ground and they are not able to financially support their activity anymore. They need to find other jobs, as it seems, or they should give it another try. And the team is split what they should do. And it's about this 1 hour before they need to make a decision, or this 2 hours. And the challenging part would be that I want to have 2 video rooms in that one. One is the practice room and one is the other room, so you can have private conversations like you could in a lab. Mm-hmm. Because in a lab, like what you can't do here is the others can always hear you and are always with you, and you can have parallel conversations and then return slightly changed. I'm very curious how that will go.
I think what you can do is use Discord, because Discord is totally used by for esports, and you just go and you do like a direct video chat on Discord.
I also would like to record it though. So in that sense, in the end, I need to go for YouTube if I want to have a look at it.
I actually know the person who wrote Endgame.
David.
Yeah,
is his name, right?
Yeah, it's the whole Minnesota indie RPG crowd. So yeah, he's. I never actually got a chance to play it, but he's been working on that game. I knew he was working on that game like 2-3 years ago. I don't know at what point he finished it. I know it was published with Glass Free Games, but I don't. I probably meant that it was published last year, I think.
Yeah, or 2 years ago. Yeah, something like that. I think I would stop the recording here. If you want to stay with me for a second, then let's do so. Just that then the shorter the recording time, the more likely people are willing to give it a try.